Hey, Life Center families, Amy Kaufman here, Director of Family Ministries, with our August parent tip for you. It's that time of year where many of us are thinking about back to school, whether or not you have kids that are going to school. Fall is a big reboot time, right? Summer is great and fun. But for most of us, that means different routines, different schedules. You might be in survival mode. You might be ready to have them go back to school. You might not be. But for many families, August is just a time where we are thinking about resetting, reprioritizing, that kind of thing. And so my tip this month is a little bit less focused on kids, more focused on us as parents, because I was just reading recently, I don't know how recent the research is, but current research is showing that only 1 in 3 kids raised in the church will actually stick to that faith as they mature into adulthood. Only 1 in 3. So that tells us that just bringing kids to church, being raised in a church is not sufficient enough, right? We as parents need to up our game, so to speak. We need to rethink strategy, but that begins with us. That begins with us as parents. If we should be desiring for our children to grow up, to follow Jesus, to desire to be in his word, to desire to be a lifelong follower. That is our goal as parents. That is our mission. But that begins with us. We cannot expect our children to desire something, to do something that we ourselves are not doing. So as we are preparing our children to go back to school, as we are preparing for different routines, whatever that looks like going into fall, this is a challenge to myself that I challenge all of us to do, is to prioritize our own walks with Jesus, to rethink, like, what do we need to change up, right? I know for me, my routine has been so off this summer in a good way, right? It's not always bad, right? It's just different. My daughter's been home. I've not been able to have the mornings that I normally have. It looks different. And so as we go into the fall, prioritize spending time with Jesus, prioritize connecting with him. We've just spent a whole series on different ways to connect with God. What does that look like for you? Okay, and I challenge you, as you are planning and preparing your students to go back to school, that you prepare to go back to school, to go back to a routine, to reboot, reset, and let's model for our children what it looks like to fail if we failed, right? And to pick ourselves up, right? That is a huge lesson that we can show our kids, is what does it look like to get completely out of rhythm, out of routine, not be doing the things that we necessarily want to do, but to reset, right? That is an awesome thing to model for your children. So let's reset if we need to reset. Maybe summer's not been. I mean, I remember when I was teaching and summers were actually easier. I had more time. My mornings were slower. I actually felt closer to God when I was teaching because I had the time. So maybe for you, it looks a little bit different. Like, how am I going to maintain this, right? I felt so close to God, and now how am I going to maintain this? So what does it look like for you as you transition into fall to model following Jesus, connecting with him daily for your child? Because we know that the best example we can be for our children is modeling. Modeling being lifelong learners, lifelong disciples of Jesus. So that is your parent tip this month of August. As we get into fall, schedules change, and it's a little bit of a reset time, evaluation of priorities, all those things that we tend to just naturally gravitate toward this time of year. Let's, as parents, make sure that we are setting the example of modeling, prioritizing time with Jesus first and foremost.